Everybody, it's Ned here coming at you with a top 10 video for my top 10 favorite fantasy vehicles from Hot Wheels. And yeah, we're doing something a little bit different for the setup and background also for this video because I felt like being a little unique for this video. And yeah. Oh, what's this background from? It's from the Hot Wheels Premium 5-pack for Tokyo Drift. But yeah, my top 10 favorite fantasy vehicles. This was kind of a hard list because I don't really have that many fantasy vehicles, not just for Hot Wheels, but even less for Matchbox. And picking 10, I mean, like picking 5, primarily the top 3, that was easy, but picking 5, let alone 10, was hard. And there's a few rules for this top 10. There's no Matchbox. There's none of the big rigs or monster trucks from Hot Wheels. This is specifically just the mainline, or even if they're like premiums or whatever, they're allowed to, but they have to be specifically a casting or molded. That was like a mainline or whatever. Basically something like this. And what you see here on screen is an honorable mention. This would have been number 10, but I don't remember. I don't remember what this mold is. It doesn't say it on the bottom, but I like it. It's a pretty cool mold. I like the matte purple pink. I actually got a treasure hunt Pontiac Boonville of this mold. And I really like it also. It's pretty cool, but I got one other honorable mention being the Quick Bite, because it's a hot chicken truck. And it's one of them few, it's one of the few fantasy molds that it can fit in with a normal JDM collection without a problem. And that's what I like. I'm not all for these crazy, ridiculous looking fantasy vehicles, and that's something you're going to notice quick on my top 10. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get on to number 10 now. Number 10 is the Montezuma, and it was originally number 9, but, well, it's number 10 instead. Because I have, even though it's not the one I had when I was younger, I have a personal connection with the mold for number 9. But I still like this Montezuma because it's just a Monte Carlo. It is literally just a old school Monte Carlo before Hot Wheels created a Monte Carlo or whatever. I don't know. But what I do know is this is sick. And this is straight up a lowrider right here, Monte Carlo. This is a pimp car, man. And I like this. I like the gold. There's like a black and gold one I kind of want in my collection too. I just really like this. It's one of them good examples of you can literally just, like, the people that had this before me, right? They literally with Sharpie on the bottom. Monte Carlo. Yeah, it's straight up just a Chevy Monte Carlo. But it counts. It counts for this. It counts for this list because it is a fantasy vehicle, and yeah, it's definitely worthy of being a fantasy vehicle. And number 9 is the Boulevard Bruiser. I actually really like this mold, and even though it's more akin to the more fantasy look, like a lot of these fantasy vehicles are, especially with the overall frontness of it, you can tell that this was meant to be a Mustang, like it's inspired to be. And the original first edition, that was like the red one with the white stripes, I loved that one when I was growing up. And I also just like that there's like this hollow hole on the bottom right there of the casting. I just think it's cool. And just what was it? I saw a gray one with like one of the track big rigs or whatever too. So it's still a fairly popular mold in my opinion. And I feel like it's worth being a top 10 mold. Maybe not top 5. At least to me it's not worth being top 5. But it's definitely worth top 10 material. This is going to be the one mold that's going to piss a lot of people off. Being, why is this number 8? But not even top 5, not even top 3. Well, it's the Diora 2. I like the Diora 2. That was a Highway 35 this first appeared in. I remember watching that when I was younger once. I never cared for the Diora 2 when I was younger. I never fucking cared about it. But I can respect it when I got older and got heavily into collecting. I can respect the Diora 2 a lot more now as an adult than what I could when I was younger. And do I have like a good colored Diora 2? No, I don't. Would I like a better looking one? Yes. Have I had times where I could have had a better looking one in my collection? Yes. But that should tell you how much I'm not really in the mood to care for other Dior 2s. But I mean, it's popular enough to where Mattel brought it back in like recent years also with like 2-3 different repaints. So it's a good casting, and I like the surfboards. I like the back, like the engines in the back. I like how people would open up to drive it. Because I saw real life replicas, just open up the front like that. It's a cool vehicle. I like the Dior too. But it's just not my 2000s cup of tea when it comes to fantasy vehicles. Sticking on with the basically real-world cars, but can technically count for the top 10. Number 7 is the 24/7. Oh, ain't you clever? Yeah, it's the 24/7. I like this because it's literally just a Mazda RX-7. And this is like the 2025, 2026 version. Yeah, I'm happy to have this mold in my collection because I actually really like it a lot. And that's how I roll when it comes to like the fantasy vehicles. I don't really care for the wacky ones. I like the more basically the real world ones, but not for like being cars. There's only like few wacky ones I like. Like another honorable mention. The only reason this wasn't on the top 10, it would have been, was I kind of forgot. So it's like, shout out to this thing. I don't even remember the name of it, but yeah, shout out to this thing. But may that be a good example. Like, I remember these vehicles more than I do the more wacky ones. Which, again, shout out to the Tony Hawk one. That was pretty cool. But if it took me remembering it last second to even want to put it on my top 10, then I don't even feel like it's worth being a top 10 vehicle like the 24/7 is. And I have a love for the Mazda RX-7 too. Is it my favorite JDM Japan cultured vehicle? No, because that's the GTR. But I respect the 24/7, and I further respect the RX-7. And you could put this right in a RX-7 display and you wouldn't know the difference. But yeah. I think this one is deemed the HW50 concept, because that's what the bottom says. I don't know. This is one of the few ones where it's like, well, wasn't you just talking about how you hated the more wacky-looking fantasy vehicles? Why is this number 6? Camera, will you focus? Yes, I was saying that. But I kind of wish this had chrome instead of that, bronzest looking black now. Brown looking bronze for the engine. But as I was saying, reason why this is here on my top 10 is because this is kind of that perfect blend of it's fantasy, but I can also see it being in the real world. Because I could see this totally being a real world rat rod, especially with like, what is that, a zombie, a frog? What the hell is that on the side? Either way, I love that art, man. I love that old school like gas or arc on that on this thing. And I like the whole almost just, I want to say clone trooper kind of like visor look. Maybe not clone trooper, but definitely it gives off a Mandalorian vibe. But I really like the look of this thing. And that says a lot when a modern 2020s modern, fantasy vehicle makes me like it a lot. And I just like this thing a lot, dude. I think it's cool as hell, man. You know what else is cool as hell? The roll cage. And yes, this is a treasure hunt. Yeah, I'm so happy. I got a few of the 2000s treasure hunts new in card a while back, and I opened a few up, and one of the few that I opened up was the roll cage, because I really like this a lot. And before I found that, about 2 weeks before I found this thing, I seen it on a post I was like, man, that looks cool, especially with the rubber wheels. Because I actually had the roll cage for a few of the different molds when I was younger. And I liked it. It bored me a lot, though, after, like, playing with it a little bit. But as an adult, man, I just got the nostalgia for it, especially with the rubber wheels. And this is also another fantasy vehicle that I could see being an actual real-world vehicle. Especially with, like, the treasure hunt stickers and everything. I wish this wheel was a rubber wheel, but that's okay. This thing's just cool as hell, dude. And I don't know when and if I'm ever gonna get to talk about this thing in a video again, but it is definitely worthy of being my top 5, especially number 5. But you know what's worthy of being number 4? The Super Tsunami. Literally a Toyota Supra. I like this. I like this. In fact, if I remember correctly, before Mattel had the rights to make Fast and Furious diecast, didn't they repaint this into just a Fast and Furious Supra? Because I'm pretty sure I had that one when I was younger. It was pretty damn cool too. But yeah, the Super Tsunami, man. Like bring it back into 24/7. Yeah, you can see how awesome they look. And I really respect the Super Tsunami for what it is. It has balls. It has, especially with the name Super Tsunami, it has fucking balls. It has the design aura. It has the presence aura too. It is just cool as hell. And I love and respect this diecast. And I wish we saw more of the Super Tsunami as of the 2020s, because I don't think we ever saw a modern Super Tsunami. Like, there's a lot of good molds from, like, the 2000s and 2010s. We don't really see that much anymore, if not at all. Like, let's see. The Montezuma, that's one I think needs to be mentioned. For the longest time, the Dior too, also. Yeah, there's a lot. The roll cage, we don't even see the roll cage. There's a lot, man. There's a lot. But speaking of a lot, we gotta talk about number 3, being the Bone Shaker. I like the Bone Shaker, and unlike the Dior 2, where it's like I could see the Dior 2 existing as a concept vehicle, I could see the Bone Shaker just straight up existing as a rat rod. And I don't have like my definitive mold of the Bone Shaker yet. Like, this one's cool. I wish I had the skull on both sides, not just, oh, here's the Hot Wheels, here's the skull. Because it came with, like, the Bone Shaker monster truck, this one did. But I like it. And what's there to say about the Bone Shaker that nobody else has already said? Oh, it's cool. The skull's awesome. It's badass. It's cool, man. The Bone Shaker is cool. And I kind of want to get the Hot Wheels crossovers Bone Shaker. I got the, the Twin Mill. And sorry for those of you who was expecting a Twin Mill in this top 10. There's no Twin Mill. I do like the Twin Mill, but I don't have a proper mold of the Twin Mill besides the Hot Wheels Transformers crossover. And that would just be unfair to include a transforming figure on a diecast top 10, in my opinion. So yeah, shout out to the Twin Mill though. But yeah, I like this a lot. I like it a lot, but not as much as number 2. And number 2, I feel like definitely should be turned into a Transformer. And what is number 2? It's the Cyclone. This ain't the one I had when I was younger. The one I had when I was younger was like a reddish, orangish color. Had like purple windows, I think, in it or something like that. I can't remember. But I liked it a lot. It was like my second favorite fantasy vehicle when I was younger. And it's still my second favorite fantasy vehicle now as an adult. And I'm happy to have this back in my life because I don't know, for the longest time I could never find the slingshot until not Highway 35, but the Hot Wheels Acceleracers slingshot for like a Teku. I don't care for Acceleracers. Oh no, you don't care for Acceleracers. I don't. I really don't. I don't. I can respect it, but I don't care about it. If I'm gonna have any bias, it's gonna be Highway 35. But that's how I roll. Like, literally, that's how I roll. But I do respect this a lot for a multitude of reasons. One, I feel like this could actually be a real life, concept vehicle, like, really quickly. Bringing in a side by side, just to give an example, here's the Chrysler Thunderbolt from, like, the early 90s. Like, side by side, I can totally see this being a concept vehicle from the, I'd say, mid to late 90s, early 2000s for some kind of vehicle brand. Honestly, given the front end of it, I would feel like either Dodge for something, because that's a very Dodge feeling front end in my opinion, especially right next to the Chrysler. Because didn't Chrysler and Dodge used to also share, like companies or something? Because what was it? It was Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and something else. So yeah, I could totally see this being a Dodge, especially next to like the Chrysler Thunderbolt. But yeah, my point stands. Like, this would definitely be a good vehicle to have as a concept vehicle in real life. And I really like this a lot. I really do. And I liked it a lot as a kid, but not as much as number one. And number one's probably going to be one that everybody completely forgot. And if not completely forgotten, just I feel like nobody talks about. This ain't my childhood one. I don't know where my childhood one went at the moment in my shelf. And my childhood one is beating the hell back anyways. But this is definitely, out of the few that I have that are not damaged, it's the Bywayman. It is the Bywayman. What's the Bywayman? Oh, Ned, all you do is pick the vehicles that are basically just real world vehicles for fancy vehicles. Yeah, I know. I like the Bywayman because when I was younger, I think it was a Christmas gift when I was younger. It might have been for a birthday gift. But my uncle, he got me a white box. It was a white birthday box. And it had a bunch of the 2003 vehicles in it for like the Hot Wheels. And when I opened it up, one of the first ones I grabbed, I played with the hell and back, was the last run of 2003 Bywayman. And I still have that. Like, I'll go see if I can find my original one really quick. But yeah, here's my original one. As you can tell, this thing, it's been played with a lot. And whenever I found it, back in, what was it? Because I actually lost it for the longest time when I was younger. But I was in 2016 that I found it again in my dad's basement. And when I found it, man, that made me so happy. I didn't even care that I was like battered and beaten to hell and back, because I love this thing so much. And you know what? It says Junior's Junkyard on the back. It's last run 2003. It's a pretty damn good truck. And even though this one's, would I like to have the last run 2003 mold back in my life too for the paint? Oh, hell yeah. But I'm also happy to just have this as like a junker beater truck too. Because I know I got a fresh one. And I had the one that was part of that 1 5-pack from the 90s. That was like that red one that was meant to be a racing themed 5-pack. That one was alright, but that was so specific. This one though, I really like the Piranha one. I really like it a lot. And I'm pretty happy and content with it, especially with the purple colors. Because one of my favorite colors is purple. And I'm just happy to have this back in my life, man. I know there's a different mold variant that has like a snow plow, and I would like that one too. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this top 10. But yeah, with all that said, yeah, this is my top 10 for my top 10 favorite fantasy vehicles as of 2026. And I'm pretty happy with this. Will this top 10 maybe someday change? Maybe a little bit. But I highly doubt the top 5 are going to change. Because as I stated in the beginning of the video, I don't really focus that much on the fantasy vehicles when it comes to not just Mattel, but as a whole with diecast. I really don't. And I will say this, though, after talking about concept vehicles, too, there has been an idea that I've been wanting to do also, being a kind of overview video about just the concept vehicles from not just Mattel for both Matchbox and Hot Wheels, but just like as a whole. with diecast, because I have a nice, decent 1/64 scale collection of fantasy vehicles, especially from Mattel, because right around the 90s to 2000s, they pumped out like a lot of fantasy vehicles from olds. Like, again, the Chrysler Thunderbolt, who even remembers that? The Pontiac Rageous, that's a damn good one. And even the Pontiac Banshee. There's a lot of good fantasy vehicles. Well, with that said, I don't know why this isn't focusing. Come on. I don't know why that wasn't focusing, but with all that said, if y'all like this vid, like, comment, sub, all that jazz, and yeah, what's your favorite fantasy vehicle?